Remember that these are inevitably samples. Yet Merrill has done a superb job in providing an array that reflects the great diversity of Pentecostals and Charismatics, both genders, multiple ethnicities, and representatives from a wide range of denominations. Because many of the selected figures were associated with other Pentecostal or Charismatic leaders, moreover, Merrill manages to sneak in a few more figures than the 50 specifically named. For example, Carrie Judd Montgomery and Elias Letwaba, without adding extra space. Much more remains to be said about significant figures in the history of Pentecostals and Charismatics in Africa, Asia, and Latin America than was possible in this book's limit of 50. Historians will also say more about the figures included. The genius of this book, however, is what makes it invaluable for its purpose, as a handy, succinct, and inexpensive gold mine of knowledge. The stories in this book remind us that God uses all kinds of people, including people like us. All had flaws. As Merrill's balanced presentation of these figures point out, none was perfect. But God is eager to use those who recognize their need to depend on Him. This book reminds us of a God who calls to us all, ready to use any vessel wholly devoted to His service. Dr. Craig S. Keener, F.M., and Ada Thompson, Professor of Biblical Studies, Asbury Theological Seminary. Introduction. Great Cloud of Witnesses. Some of the names in the table of contents you will quickly recognize, while others may be quite unfamiliar to you. But all of them, listed chronologically by order of birth, have stories to tell and insights to share out of the Pentecostal and Charismatic movements of the past 120 years. In the words of esteemed Emory University professor Fred Craddock, anyone who can't remember further back than his or her own birth is an orphan. Choosing the 50 was a challenge, to be sure, which involved long discussions with the publisher. You may see a name that causes you to say, "Why would you include him?" On the other hand, you may be asking, "How could you leave out blank?" We had, in fact, a sizable bench of additional names we would like to have included, but there were only 50 slots. I confess that in the end, our choices were personal as we sought to hold true to the title criterion of people every Christian should know. Let it be noted that none of the 50 was perfect. Each of them harbored human flaws and misassumptions. I have not tried to gloss over these, but to report them charitably. Most of the subjects have, over the course of their ministries, been on the receiving end of public criticisms, some justified, others unfair. From each case we can learn. I must give grateful thanks to the following historians, without whose work I could never have developed this book: Frank Bartleman, eyewitness to the Azusa Street Awakening; Dr. Vincent Synan; Dr. Mel Robick; Stanley Frodsham; Dr. Edith Blumhofer; Dr. Stanley Burgess; and Dr. Amos Young. Thank God that these could not only speak in tongues, but also write in lucid English. Having said that, I invite you to give a hearing to this great cloud of witnesses, men and women who, if I may paraphrase the language of Hebrews chapter 11, by the Spirit preached New Testament truth, healed the sick, cast out dark forces, withstood the arrows of accusation, held true to their calling, and even shed light in faraway places, of whom the world was not worthy. Their reward awaits. 1. Maria Wordsworth Eder, 1844 to 1924. The Female Forerunner. She was only 11 years old that summer day when her father collapsed in a field on their Ohio farm with a fatal sunstroke. Maria, pronounced Mariah, Underwood and her older siblings would now need to drop out of school and go to work, helping their grieving mother keep food on the table. And things had been going so well the past year, since her hard-drinking father and his wife had begun attending a nearby Disciples of Christ congregation. There young Maria had heard the gospel for the first time. She was born again at age 13, baptized in a creek, and soon thereafter felt she heard